Welcome to the channel and No Man's Sky, and this video is going to be about update 1.38 that was released on the 3rd of October 2017 if you're watching this in the future. And I think this update represents a change in strategy by Hello Games. Up until update 1.3 they were doing like a 6-monthly update cycle where they dropped a major release. Since 1.3 came out, they seem to have now shifted towards more frequent of updates, but they're more than just patches, guys. This is quite a substantial update in its own right. It's not just fixing a few bugs, and for that reason this video is only going to focus on some key ones, with one that I can demonstrate and two I think is relevant. If you want the full details of what's in the update, there will be a full listing in the description of this video, and you'll be able to peruse through, because there's quite a few bug fixes. Some of them I personally never experienced, so I won't be able to comment on whether they've been fixed or anything like that, but I think we're going to get straight down into it, guys. I don't want to drag this video out too long, and what we are looking at is probably the biggest change in this update, is where they've actually changed the way the save game runs. Now when you start the game, this is what you're presented with. If you start the game for the first time, all these slots will be empty, and what this is doing is giving you your active plays, and you can see here my survival play. I played 224 hours and I haven't used it since September. This is my permadeath series, which will be loaded in a moment, and the one below is a normal one which I just done as a test. So you can see I'm actually recording this on the 4th of October at 8:15 in the evening, and the reason I did this test is that to start a new game you click on an empty slot, and then that takes you to the screen that we're probably all familiar with since I think the Pathfinder update, where you have the option of choosing normal, survival, permadeath or creative. Now one point I will bring to your attention, guys, if you click on this slot, which is the reason I did this test and I don't want to do it now, is there's no back option on the next screen. You are committed to choosing an option and then starting the actual campaign or whatever you want to call it, and before you can come back again. So that's the reason why I wanted to test it, just to make sure, and it does work that way, and therefore I'm not going to demonstrate the process to you guys. It's quite straightforward, and what I will draw your attention to the bottom here is if you manage to fill up all 5 slots, you can right click on one of these here and it will say, are you sure you want it there? All data will be permanent this, and hopefully and that will remove it, so you can there. Now what I will say is I'm not totally sure why somebody would want 5 slots, although from my personal perspective it's quite useful, because obviously up until the arrival of this I've been restricted on being able to do a kind of off-camera type campaign in order to demonstrate these updates. I've always been restricted to the campaigns that I've got, and it takes away that dilemma now that I could run 2 permadeath series side by side if I wanted to, or 2 survival series or something like that. So I think that's all I'm going to say on this, guys. I do like the feature and I do think it's going to be very useful for me. The benefit for any of you guys who just play a normal game, unless you're playing so much that you want to do survival, all the different options, it's up to you guys. And what we're going to do is going to kind of click on here and load my permadeath series, because that's got the best options to demonstrate what's in this update. Now what I will say as I go through is that when the game drops in after this load screen, there's one of the changes as well, and it's just coming up now, and you can see now you can actually press tab to skip these load screens. Again, a very small change, but from the perspective of playing the permadeath mode, that is quite a big change, in the sense that the number of times I've landed on a planet or even loaded the game and the planet's been hostile and I've been under attack and I've just been sat there kind of fretting, saying get this screen done. So the ability to quit out and over that screen is kind of very, very useful, guys. Now the next one is I'm going to go straight into these. It relates to farming, and I think every one of us does farming, and I think this is quite a useful trick. Now you come up here and you can see I'm farming here. If you use the analysis visor, you can see now it tells you, see where it says below primary element, growth time remaining, it will tell you how long you've got left before these plants mature, and I think that's quite a useful feature, because one of the, especially like me, I'm not a big one for just hanging around the base waiting for a plant to grow and then harvest. I'm not much of a min-max harvester, I'll be honest. So being able to look at that and then decide, is it worth me hanging around a couple of minutes to harvest and that before I go anywhere else, is very, very useful. And what I'm going to do is come down, guys, because I want to show another one. I'm not too sure how this actually works, and what it actually says is if you do a scan, trouble is I don't have that much in the way of resources around here. If you do a scan, and then what it says is it tells you how far away, but I'm not sure how that actually works, whether you can actually see the resource. But if you can see the resource, there it says there, I think it's in the top right there, it says it's 71 units away. I don't know if I can see anything else there. You can see it's kind of scrolling out towards infinity, so it gives you a distance to resources that you want to be able to pick up. Personally, I'm not sure how useful that is, but I'm sure there'll be some of you guys out there who find that very, very useful. And I need to just tuck myself back into here to show you the next change. I think that's the ones to do with the stabilizer. The next one I think is quite useful, and that is the fact that if you click now on here to send, what you actually get is they've also fixed the problem where the roamer was coming up as the nomad. So you've now got the option to go send to the ship, the roamer, nomad and the colossus. Now bear in mind I have all three exocraft outside of my base. If the exocraft is not there, it will not come up on here, but this is, so they've actually fixed that option there. But the neat one now, guys, is you can now send stuff and transfer stuff to and from your storage vaults that are outside. So you can see all your storage vaults is here. So if I wanted to pull something back in from, say I want to pull this in, you can pull that back. More importantly, you can click here now. Now down the bottom here it says storage vaults into here. Now, but what I will say, guys, is I've done a little bit of testing, and what the system doesn't seem to do is stack very well. So like this frost crystal, I would want it into here. If I kind of go out and show you guys, and I would want it in here in this storage container, but it's actually put it in here. And I think the way it's actually done it is, I can't actually see the numbers on here, but I think it loads them according to the sequence in your vault, because I think this is vault 0, this is vault 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's a slight downside, guys. So if you want nice, neat, tidy vaults, which I must admit I will plead guilty to, this may not be the best system for you. But of course what you can do is do that. Come here and you can pull the vaults directly onto your exocraft as well, which is really cool. And of course I can then send that to my exosuit. And of course, just, sorry, my OCD is kicking in a little bit, so I'm not going to be happy until that's actually back in there. So basically I think Hello Games have listened to the complaints about the complexity of things, and they have picked up now that as long as you're within range of your storage capabilities, you can send things from one place to another and shuffle things all around. And before we go out and I show you something else, I'm just going to show you another fix that they've actually done, and then we're going to go up to the space station and do a bit of trading. And what you can see now is they've now fixed the tooltip here. So by mousing over here now, you can actually see things related to your system. So it says economy, alchemo, unpromising, dominant lifeform, Corvax, and lawless. So what you can do which is the equivalent to what you've got here, but you can now do it without actually having to mouse over there. So it's another option and explains these symbols up here. So I think that's it, and what I'm going to do now is we're going to go up to the base. Right guys, I've been standing here waiting for a ship to arrive. This hasn't been very cooperative, but what you can do now is scan ships as they come in, and you can see there now it tells you the name of the ship, its class, its level. It's a C-class fighter, and it's valued 720,000. So it probably, based on that price, it probably means that it doesn't have much of an inventory, and we can actually confirm that. I think if I go up and talk to it, 720,000, a C-class fighter, probably means that it will be something like about 15 or less slots. Okay, let's have a quick look. 16 slots they are. It's not a bad guess. So now the next section is, I suppose, what you'd call lifestyle changes, or whatever you want to call them, and these relate to trading. And I'm pretty sure most of us are aware that although they enhanced the trading since 1.3, there have been a few issues, and I'm just going to go and trade the things. So I need to sell some stuff anyway, so apologies for that, guys, but we need to get into here anyway. Now what they've actually done is, I'll sell the stuff. Let me just sell this stuff off first. Particularly I've got if we toggle now to W, and sorry that this is not actually being this is going to be more of a case of me reading stuff out here. It says here now, and the changes they've done to trading, it says now trading stock replenishes over time, and that's demonstrated by there. I mean, it's not very clear, guys, but in fact I probably want all this anyway, so but I bought all the plutonium from this trading station the last time I was in, and you can see that's actually replenished, where I think before it would never replenish. And the next one, it says improve trading by giving NPC traders independent stock levels. So I think the way we can test that is by, if we click here now, we come back in and we go to buy. I'm very much winging it here, guys, so apologies if this doesn't. So you can see here it's already started to regenerate slowly at 1 of 9, and if we can get out, maybe we can catch a ship. There's a trader there, so we can grab this trader here before he flies off. Just test this. Fascinating, thank you. Buy items, and hopefully, yeah, you can see this guy's got his own, where before if you bought everything in the space station, this guy would have had 0 as well. But now that you can actually see that this trader has an independent kind of inventory or stock from the space station, and probably it's different from that one. And based on the release notes, that says it also applies to trading posts. So they've kind of really rounded out the trading and balanced it a little bit more. But it says, but it's important to say that it has separate trade levels for trading posts and space stations in the same system. It also says that you can now sell from your ship inventory at terminals. Well, we're not at a terminal here because obviously you can do it here, but I think that refers to terminals when you actually down on the planet's surface, but I haven't been able to verify that, guys. And I think that covers the trading, but there's a couple of extra ones related to trading which I must admit, from a permadev mode, these are quite important. And one of them is the fact that they've now fixed the problem with the elevated trading bases that you find on the planet's surface, where there's no hazard protection. So what I mean, especially in permadev mode, when there's a storm blows in and you're trying to trade, and you're effectively, your entire hazard protection is dying away, which is very prevalent in the early parts of a permadev run, and you're on the point of dying, and all you're trying to do is buy and sell, or like with the Artemis mission, it's having this long conversation and you're dying. But now the trade ports now provide hazard protection. And of course another one, which if you ever watched my survival series, which was driving me nuts, and this was this habit that I had a hauler, and every time I got out of it, it shot me over the rail of an elevated base, and I ended up landing on the planet and taking multiple injuries from that. And if it was a really hazardous planet, bearing in mind that I couldn't actually see the stats on it really update 1.3, I would be trying to get back up to get to my ship to survive on that. So I'm really glad that they've actually fixed that bug, because that used to drive me insane with my hauler. I had a fantastic hauler and I used to hate it using it simply because I couldn't actually do anything with it. So I think that covers the trading, and what I'm going to do now is go in here and just drop a save. Apologies for that, guys. And what we're going to do is go out into space, and the next bit is to do with the map. And what they've actually said, yes, they've done it. They've actually now put back the spectral colours on the planets, you can see here now. And the other thing they've also done is something which was I suffered from. I don't know if how many of you other guys have actually suffered from it, but the mouse didn't have the sensitivity. I couldn't do this. It was always very chunky, very, very slow. Yeah. I don't know, it always seems to take a little bit to flip through, but so I think that's a small change, guys, but it's made a big difference to the actual planetary system, being able to see the spectral colours of the planets. Very, very useful if you're looking for specific types of planet. And I think that's all the change for there. Because we're up in space now, and I'm kind of on the downhill slope now, guys, a little bit on this. I do want to keep this video relatively short, and what I'm doing is coming down in here. And what they've also done is, one of the things that I must admit, was becoming a little bit annoying, and that is the fact that the cloud base, and what they've actually done is they've now changed the in-flight weather effects so that it varies in density. Okay. Yeah, I suppose it's thickening up a little bit as it comes up in here. Yeah, I suppose it's, yes, you can see the clouds now coming in. And I suppose there's no weather here now just to annoy me, but I think that's actually a bit better. I must admit, the real cloud base I did find slightly annoying. And got a base here, Roma Geo Bay. And I think that's it. And I think what I'm going to do is land next to here just to demonstrate that tab thing again. So what we're going to do now is come in here, and I've got plenty of plutonium because I've just bought some, and I've missed the landing peg completely, but never mind. And if you click out now, and of course we haven't discovered this for the first time, so right, and we're down on the planet. This is one of my resource gathering bases which I was using to actually build up my farming operation. Okay, let's just build a bypass chap to compensate for my terrible landing. Yeah, I don't think we're just gonna land here. And I think that kind of covers most of the elements of the update that I can actually demonstrate to you guys, but I'm going to read a couple others which I think is quite relevant to some of your adventures. And again, it does relate a little bit towards survival permadeath mode rather than normal mode, and it comes under a kind of heading of general. It says lush biomes in survival mode now occasionally exist without aggressive sentinels. Now I must admit, I'm really looking forward to this, because it's been a really annoying factor ever since, a very long time now, that I'd find these fantastic planets that had really nice lush biomes, and all it would be completely infested with aggressive sentinels. And I like the idea of the fact that I may actually be able to find a planet that I can settle on and enjoy it, especially a water planet, without having to kind of spend all my time outside killing Sentinels. So I really like that change. Big thumbs up to Hello Games for that. I do appreciate what they've done. And it says he also made temperature range on dead planets more varied. So basically they're now actually making it so that dead planets have a bit more variety in it. And the final one, which I'm going to talk about, is storms on humid, harsh planets are now no longer toxic. They may have a chance of being very hot rain. It says, note, no new storms have been added and the frequency of storms has not been adjusted. So, and I think that was a big complaint. I saw a couple of people in the forums complaining that they had really nice lush planets and they suddenly got these really hostile toxic storms rushing across their planet, making it very difficult for them. I can sympathise because I think I landed on one and the place nearly killed me, and when I got caught outside. So I think that's it, guys. Now there are a lot more other changes. A lot of them are bug fixes and kind of minor tweaks, but if you're really interested, I'll reiterate again, I will put a full description in the description of this video if you're really interested, you want to see. And I think that's about it. I can't think of anything else that's in the update that I can really demonstrate, and I don't want to bore you by talking about kind of minor bug fixes and things like that. So this is where I'm going to leave it, guys. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope you found it interesting. Got any questions about the update, feel free to pass a comment. I will try and answer them. I'm not guaranteeing that I understand some of the changes, but this is it. So what I'm going to say, guys, is whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.